If Eala, can keep doing well with her tennis, who knows? The sky's the limit on the court, off the court.
Is she the biggest draw in women's tennis right now in the world?
Yes. Dude, it's crazy.
She is the biggest draw in women's tennis. Those words did not come from a marketing executive. They did not come from a Filipino broadcaster. They came from Steve Johnson, a 12-year ATP veteran who has seen every superstar walk through the tunnel. And he was not talking about Aryna Sabalenka. He was not talking about Coco Gauff. He was talking about Alex Eala, ranked 32 in the world, 20 years old. And what Kim Clijsters revealed 3 days later explains why the entire sport is scrambling to catch up. Here is the question. Is she already the biggest draw in women's tennis, or does she still need a Grand Slam title to silence the last skeptics? 12 months ago, Alex Eala sat outside the top 50. No Filipino woman had ever cracked the WTA's top 100. The infrastructure was not there. The funding was not there. The global attention was not there. Then Miami happened. A semifinal run that announced her arrival to the world. First Filipino woman in WTA history to reach the top 100. By February 2026, she had climbed to a career-high 31, the biggest ranking jump in the top 50 after Dubai. But the numbers only tell part of the story. At the Australian Open, fans were turned away from her matches, not because of rain delays, not because of scheduling conflicts, because there were too many people trying to get in. So press conference viewership for a first-round match exceeded numbers typically reserved for Novak Djokovic. In Dubai, she dismantled Jasmine Paolini, ranked 6th in the world, 6-1, 7-6. A top 10 opponent handled in straight sets by a player 30 ranking spots below her. The WTA had never scheduled a player ranked this low on center court purely because of crowd demand, until now. And then the Nothing Major podcast dropped on February 24th. Sam Querrey posed the question directly to Steve Johnson. Is Alex Eala a bigger draw than Sabalenka? Bigger than Coco Gauff?
Is she big? Is she bigger than Sabalenka? Is she bigger than Coco? Is
Yes.
she the biggest draw in women's tennis in the world?
Johnson did not hesitate. Yes, it is insane. Standing room only.
It's massive. The crowd she's getting right now, all over the world, are insane.
John Isner, former world number 8, one of the most respected voices in American tennis, sat there nodding. 3 former top 30 players, combined decades of tour experience, agreeing on a single point. A 20-year-old ranked outside the top 30 is outdrawing every established superstar in women's tennis. The establishment had no explanation. The ranking said she should be playing outer courts to modest applause. The crowd said something entirely different. Dubai told the story first. Johnson described the atmosphere as insane, standing room only for a player who, by ranking alone, should have been a footnote in the draw. Eala responded by beating Sorana Cirstea, then demolishing Paolini in a performance that left the 6th-ranked player visibly stunned. Monday, ranked 47, Wednesday, top 10 victory, Sunday, career-high 31. The Australian Open had already provided the blueprint. Ben Rothenberg, one of tennis journalism's most respected voices, documented the phenomenon in his Bounces newsletter on January 19th. Fans physically could not get into her matches. Her press conference drew more online viewers than sessions featuring multiple-time Grand Slam champions.
If she wins a slam, it would be one of the biggest things in the world.
Tournament officials confirmed what the numbers suggested. They had underestimated the demand by orders of magnitude. Jasmine Paolini saw it up close. In a February interview, she called Eala already huge for tennis because she brings something fresh and exciting every time she steps on court. When your top 10 opponent validates your star power after you just eliminated her, the conversation shifts. Manila, Doha, Dubai, Melbourne. The pattern repeated at every stop. First, the crowds arrived, then the standing room only announcements. Then the scheduling changes to accommodate demand the tour had not anticipated. Alison Risky Amritraj compared Eala's fan base to Taylor Swift's following.
Who gets this type of support wherever she goes?
Yeah, well, Taylor Swift?
A comparison that would sound absurd for any other player ranked outside the top 30. For Eala, it landed as understatement. You saw this before the rankings caught up.
Alex Eala, it's like, and the people are pouring on. It's like the news is just getting bigger and bigger.
You recognized what 120 million Filipinos already knew. The global tennis establishment is now confirming what her supporters understood from the beginning. Kim Clijsters won 4 Grand Slam titles. She navigated the pressure of being a national hero in Belgium while raising a family and returning to the tour multiple times. She has lived the weight of an entire country's expectations. On February 27th, she addressed the Eala phenomenon directly on her Love All podcast. She has to deal with this life of being like Michael Jordan in the Philippines. It is very important for her to be a little bit protected. Michael Jordan, not a tennis comparison, a cultural icon comparison. Clijsters was not describing athletic potential. She was describing the suffocating magnitude of fame that descends when 120 million people claim you as their own. Even Djokovic weighed in.
Whatever tournament she's in, I'm assuming it's like the Filipino community from wherever they are in that part of the world are just like have to see her.
The greatest male player of all time called her the biggest tennis player her country has ever produced. When asked about the crowds, his response was direct. I would rather have a packed stadium than empty seats. Nike signed her to a long-term deal while she was ranked outside the top 50. Babolat, Globe Telecom, BPI Bank, Vogue covers, Tatler features. The commercial infrastructure materialized before the ranking demanded it, because the brands understood what the WTA was slow to recognize. This is not just about one player. This is tennis unlocking its largest untapped market since the Asian tennis boom began, 120 million Filipinos, a global diaspora spanning every continent. Indian Wells ticket sales are already generating unprecedented interest for a player making her first appearance at the tournament. Roland Garros organizers are watching. Wimbledon schedulers are taking notes. The sport's center of gravity is shifting, and it is shifting toward a 20-year-old who forced the conversation before anyone expected her to. The Australian Open first round did not go according to plan. Alicia Parks dominated in straight sets. Within hours, hate flooded Eala's mentions. From her own fans, the same 120 million who celebrated her suddenly turned critical. Rafael Nadal stepped in publicly as protector. Clijsters issued her warning about the pressure. And Eala, she said nothing inflammatory. In her press conference, she offered grace. I feel that Filipinos are still learning the rhythms of the tennis season. 3 weeks later, she reached the Dubai quarterfinal and hit a career-high ranking, standing room only in Dubai. Fans turned away in Melbourne, former ATP stars declaring her the biggest draw in women's tennis. A 4-time Grand Slam champion comparing her life to Michael Jordan's. Alex Eala did not wait for permission from the rankings. She made the sport come to her. And now every expert with a microphone is admitting they underestimated what was happening. Indian Wells begins in days. The crowds will tell the same story they have told at every stop this season. Here is the question, is she already the biggest draw in women's tennis, or does she still need a Grand Slam title to silence the last skeptics? Drop your answer below. And if you have been following this story from the beginning, if you recognized what was building before the podcasts and the headlines caught up, subscribe. This is where her supporters track every chapter of what happens next.